and it's going to say yes. All right, good afternoon, everyone. We are terribly sorry for the delay. We have been having a little bit of technical difficulties this morning, but we are really glad that you're here joining us for Heart Month, a very special edition of February's Veg Edge. We have two special guests from our heart failure clinic that are here this afternoon to share an awesome recipe for anyone, no matter who you are, whether you have heart failure or you're caring for someone with heart health issues or not. So it is something I'm certainly looking forward to trying. My name is Carrie Stewart. I'm a registered dietitian in our Heart Resource Center. With me, I have Jennifer Vygotsky, who is the manager of the Heart Failure Clinic, and Tracy Coleman, who will be demonstrating our recipe. She is a nurse practitioner with the clinic. So she sees a lot of patients that have a lot of nutrition questions, and I want them to be able to tell you a little bit about the clinic itself. And then we are going to get into a bowl concept. So we're going to talk a lot about whole grains, a lot about how to make these dishes have a lot of flavor, but while watching our sodium and making sure that we're getting enough potassium and some of these other minerals and vitamins that are important for our cardiac patients. So once again, thank you so much for joining us. If you have any questions, please feel free to type those into the Q&A here. We'd be glad to answer them. You have a wealth of knowledge right here in front of you, so please ask them anything. So with that, I'm going to let these ladies introduce themselves to you, and thanks for joining us.
My name is Jennifer Vygotsky. I'm the nurse manager for the Heart Failure Clinic at Spartanburg Medical Center. We actually have 3 locations for heart failure clinics, one at Pelham Medical Center, one at Spartanburg Medical Center, and one at Cherokee Medical Center. So our goal, working with our nurse practitioners in our office, our goal is to help patients manage their congestive heart failure, not only through medication, but through food and recipes and good heart health. And I'll have Tracy introduce herself.
I'm Tracy Coleman, nurse practitioner. I'm located at the Spartanburg main campus for the Heart Failure Clinic. I've been there for about 4 years at this point.
Yes, and I've been with the hospital system for about 10 years. So today we're going to make one of our grain bowls.
Yes.
So Tracy and I always exchange recipes in the office, and so I'm really excited to try this one because I have not tried this one, and we both love quinoa.
Yes. So this is a fairly new. The grain bowl is very versatile. This particular one is the first time I'm making it. We're making it plant-based. We only have just a tiny bit of ingredient that is dairy-based. Otherwise, we're going to get started. A little bit of salt and pepper, some of the crushed red pepper. We've got honey. We're going to put cilantro and some olive oil in there, plus some fresh squeezed limes. So we're ready to get that started. You want to put the ingredients in, and I'll start working on the limes.
I love fresh garlic. So you need to be very careful about when you buy honey. I was buying honey for my home last week, and I always look at the back of the labels. And do you know that some honey products now, if they have corn syrup in them? So you have to make sure that you have pure honey when you buy it at the grocery store, because they're adding different additives, and you don't want the corn syrup in there. Yes, please. Thank you.
So making a homemade dressing at home is really easy. It can be really simple. It doesn't have to be complicated or expensive ingredients. Is it going to take a little bit more time? Sure, but that's the benefit to making a lot at one time, is that it'll stay good in your refrigerator. So we're just going to blend a couple of these really fresh ingredients up here today. One of the things that I watched Tracy do as she was starting to prep all of this was to use her palm of her hand to actually push down on the lime. So a lot of times you go to the grocery store and there are some really hard limes. Sometimes you're lucky, you might find that one that's nice and soft and you know it'll be easy to squeeze to get a lot of juice out. But a lot of times they're picked a little bit unripe, so by the time they get to us, they might be you know, decently ready to go, but sometimes they can be very hard. So don't worry about that. Actually, one of the best ways to do is to roll your lime or your lemon or your orange, whatever it is, in the palm of your hand across your cutting board like that. And what that does is it actually starts to separate the pulp from the lining of the peel. So then you'll instantly be able to start to smell it. I can already smell this lime juice. It smells fresh and delicious. We're adding some really pretty colors to this that way as well. And citrus is really anti-inflammatory. So if you wanted to make something taste extra citrusy, you could also use the peel. So you could do what we call zest. You can just, there's lots of things that you could use to do that. You could use a grater, you could use a microplane, you can, which is specially designed for that. You could use your regular box grater and not just even a small one. But so Tracy has gone ahead and squeezed a bunch of limes that smell delicious. So we've got lime juice, garlic.
So we needed 3 tablespoons of the fresh lime juice.
Okay.
A tablespoon and a half of honey. We're going to do a quarter cup of fresh cilantro, which we have here. We'll take care of that in a minute. 2 garlic cloves. A quarter teaspoon of salt and pepper. A little bit of crushed red pepper, and then we're going to do a third of a cup of virgin olive oil. So there's the olive oil.
Okay.
Got the lime juice, and I'm going to have some of this cilantro.
Yeah.
And you have a secret for storing the cilantro to keep it fresh longer.
Oh, yeah. So a lot of times I feel like we buy these fresh herbs and it needs a garnish, or, you know, you just need a sprinkle of it to go on top there. And then we may not need it for anything else. And unfortunately, it starts to go bad. So what I do is I take my fresh herbs and I put them in a cup of water like this almost the second I get home. Now, when I'm in the store picking out a fresh herb, I always look a little silly, but go ahead, go pinch it, give it a smell. If you can't smell it in the store, then it's actually, you're not going to taste it. You've lost all the nutrients of it. So you're losing the nutritional value as well as the flavor. And that was the point of buying that dollar bunch of herbs. So it may not seem that expensive, but they can add so much nutrition. So I do want to talk a little bit extra about the cilantro because it is a leafy green. We don't normally think of herbs as being those dark leafy greens that are so beneficial for us, but they are. And cilantro in particular is on the top 10 list of having the most nitric oxide in it. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator, so it'll actually expand our arteries. So eat your cilantro, eat as much of it as you can, instead of just doing a little garnish with it. So making a dressing where we're using quite a substantial amount of it. I know then we're going to turn around and only drizzle across the bowl, but you just heard what Tracy and Jennifer put in here. It's all really incredible nutrient dense ingredients. There's a little bit of salt. The salt is going to actually help make the honey taste better. It's going to draw out some of the flavors of our cilantro, of our garlic. Our fresh garlic is actually really great for especially detoxification in our body. So it helps do things like fight cancer, and it helps the liver do its detoxifying better. So that is particularly helpful for raw garlic. So dressings are one of the best ways to eat raw garlic, since I know that's not everyone's favorite all the time.
And I love using fresh garlic. The crushed minced garlic in the jars, it just never seems to have that potent garlic flavor.
I agree. We were just having that conversation the other day, and I think once, you know, I definitely went through a period of time where I was using the garlic in the jar, the minced, because it is easy, it is convenient, and
lasts forever.
It lasts forever. But then as I started to do these cooking classes more, I got back into using fresh garlic, and I don't know that I can go back again.
Right.
It does taste better, and there is a noticeable difference in the flavor. So now I've learned a lot of easier ways to do it. You didn't get to see Tracy chop up her garlic, but you can take a chef's knife like this and take your clove of garlic. Again, use the palm of your hand, press down, use your body weight just to kind of roll into it. And it'll break that little outer peel that's so finicky to get off sometimes. It'll break that right off. I've seen other people put the fresh cloves of garlic in a ball jar and shake it really hard. And I've tried it. It does break off that way.
Yeah.
But then you're dirtying up a jar. So, you know, but it was really easy. And then I've also seen people put it in the microwave for just 5 to 10 seconds.
Oh, wow.
And sure enough, the peel comes off very easily like that. So
All right.
Okay,
So Carrie, I have a quick question.
yeah,
About the cilantro.
Yeah.
When you buy it from the store
Uh-huh.
and you put it in the water.
Yeah.
Do you cut the bottom, the ends off?
You know-
Or you just put it in?
I just put it in. Yeah, I do. I just put it in, and I have to tell you that I bought this one and it looked a little sad, but it smelled great still. And I feel like putting it in the water has helped it come back to life a little bit. And then I have this is a reusable produce bag. You can find these just, at any, I don't want to say online retailer, but you know where I'm talking about. And so you can find these pretty much anywhere. But I did put this back over top here. And that way I put it in the fridge with a cover because I do feel like it wilts faster if you don't cover it. So it could just be the produce bag, the plastic produce bag you got it in if you don't have any reusable ones. But I know one of the things that we talk about sometimes is sustainability. So these are easy for really any of the produce that you buy. The avocados you could throw in here, the limes you could throw in here, anything like that. So they're kind of nice to have. But I chose to cover my cilantro with it this time.
So we're gonna make some noise with the food processor to get our dressing
All
together.
right.
Yeah, I'll let Carrie put the top on.
Yeah.
The extra top. Put her on there.
Everything has a,
You can
Has a
use a
black
Vitamix, you can use a food processor,
Regular
a
blender.
regular blender, whatever you have at home.
all right, 3, 2, 1, everyone. Even, I mean, for a food processor, this thing is pretty quiet.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice. It is loud, but. So we're just gonna, because we're using a food processor and not a blender, we're just gonna let it go a couple extra seconds. I'm gonna scrape the sides down one time here and then keep going. But, if you like your dressings a little bit smoother and you don't want there to be any chunks of garlic or any, you want it to be blended up very nicely, you could use your what are the individual ones called? NutriBullet or something like that. The personal size smoothie type blenders are great for a dressing because that's usually about how much you're gonna need. So mix everything around here. All right, we'll zap it one more time. All right. But it's huge. It's designed to make all sorts of large quantities of dressing. Now, how often do you make homemade dressing at home, Tracy?
Not as often as I should.
But once you go make fresh dressing, my sister makes fresh dressing and it is so like a balsamic.
Yes.
It is so good. And it lasts, I feel like once you go fresh, it's hard to go back to the bottle.
It
I
is.
gotta make more of an effort.
Yeah.
So definitely after you make this, if you have any extra, you can always put it in the fridge and keep it for a few more days in an airtight container.
Do you feel like this is one of those things where the longer it sits, the more the flavors start to come together? Or do you feel like you get this seems like it has a lot of really powerful ingredients that will give you a decent pop, fresh off the bat too. So.
Yeah, I definitely feel like it'd probably get better over, over the course of a day or so.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna stir this up and then we can drizzle it. We'll use the spoon to kind of drizzle it across the bowls when it's done. How about that?
Okay, so we're gonna get started with the bowl itself. We're gonna do a mixture of quinoa and brown rice. That's gonna be the base of our green bowl. And we're just gonna start by mixing these two together. Can I get this stuff for there?
So we use the red quinoa. And it's nice and vibrant and we're gonna try it.
Add a nice contrast to the rice. So with bowls, the more colorful you make it, the more appealing it's gonna be.
And we use brown rice instead of white rice for this recipe.
And let's talk about what we cooked our rice and our quinoa in. So, a lot of folks like rice because it's got a very mild flavor, even sweet a little bit. Some of these whole grains have a little bit more nutty flavor or earthiness to them that might take a little bit of getting used to. So what is something that we can do to help flavor our grains to make them a little more appealing?
I love using butter and bouillon. I get the vegetable based, low in sodium. I put in 2 cups of oil and water. I use less than a teaspoon of that to give my rice and other grains just a little bit of added flavor. There's all kinds of great vegetables and herbs in here.
That's so smart. Yeah, I love it.
Able to really restrict your sodium content. You're definitely in control.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's a nice big jar. I mean, that's another thing where, you know, you can buy the store-made pre-bought stock to cook your grains in too. And sometimes, you know, I did it last night with my quinoa. When I'm lazy, it's nice to just have a box of the pre-made on hand, but really you had to boil your water anyway. So in this case, it's not like you were fully making broth with it. You were just adding a little bit, not even the ratios that it says to make a full cup of broth to your water, just to give it that little bit of flavor, which I feel like really adds to that grain. And even more than just if you added some salt to it,
Yes.
I feel like, because it's got all those other.
So you're probably using less salt, but getting more flavor.
Yeah, that's so smart. I brought 2 other things. Tracy found this or has this at home. So I love this. I need to get some myself, but I found some of these as well. This is Knorr brand, 0 salt, and it's a powder, but it's the same thing. So we probably could have tried that. This one was roasted garlic bouillon, they call it, but no sodium in here. So it almost looks like garlic powder with a little bit of extra spices.
Yes.
And then there's this, a lot of you might have seen these different types of bouillon cubes that come in the box here. So this one is low sodium garden veggie and it came with 8 cubes. So you could do, I think with this, you know, I have a little pathetic half of a cube left in here because I must have only needed half of the cube for the recipe to make broth. So in this case, this jar where you can just scoop a little bit out instead of having to cut your blocks in half and try and save half of them would be even easier, or something like this other powder. So there are luckily a lot more options that are becoming available for flavoring. And I think that's really a key part to these grains. One of the other things that I wanted to share a little bit about, since we're talking about whole grains, is actually broadening your horizons with them. So over here, you can see to the side, we have quite a few different whole grains there. We've got kamut, millet, farro, amaranth, and bulgur. And so there are a lot of options out there. Rice, unfortunately, is one of the grains that is very high in arsenic. And arsenic is a carcinogen. So when I say high, I mean it's very, very high. And in the South, especially, we eat a lot of rice. Now, part of where that's coming from is that a lot of the places that we grow rice in the United States are old cotton fields that they used arsenic-based pesticides on. So now the rice and the roots of the rice are soaking that up and it's getting into our rice. So guess what? All these other ancient grains, they don't have it. They have negligible levels of arsenic in them. So experiment with that. If you're not sure how you feel about it, you can do what we've done today, and you can do half of your bowl rice and half of your bowl quinoa, for example. So the thing about a lot of, you know, using a lot of rice too, is that also there is a way then to cut it in about half. 50% less arsenic if you actually cook your rice similar to the way you would cook pasta. So you use a lot more water to rice ratio and then drain your rice in your colander, that the half of the arsenic will go actually down the drain. And then we can put the lid back on the rice for just say 5 minutes or so, and that steam will help it fluff up again, because if it's drowning in water, of course, it's not going to be as nice and fluffy as we want it to be. So that's kind of what we do with the quinoa too. So the way we cooked our quinoa is we actually, we did 1 part quinoa to 2 parts liquid, and we let it cook without the lid on. And then once all the liquid had evaporated in our quinoa, then we put the lid on for about 5 minutes. And that's how you get your quinoa to puff up really nicely too. So that's kind of the trick to whole grains, I feel like, is letting them, any of them, absorb enough of the liquid or kind of steam them to get them fluffy the way we want them to be. So if you have more questions about whole grains, please let us know. But that's the basis of it. We really it's another reason to start to steer yourself towards some of these other ancient grains that have been around our food supply for quite literally centuries. That's why we call them ancient. And a lot of them have much more fiber, and they actually have much more protein than brown rice even does. And the arsenic goes for any type of rice. So it doesn't matter if it's brown, and it doesn't matter if it's organic. Unfortunately, it's just the way the root systems grow. But if you're looking for even just a lower baseline arsenic level, the rice that's grown in California is grown on lands that wasn't grown with as much of the arsenic. So that'll cut you about in half to begin with. So not to scare anyone by that, but really just here to say, vary your grains, because there's some really awesome ones out there that are delicious. Use your low sodium bouillon options to flavor it and see what you think. So I'm already looking at this. It's beautiful. I have to show everyone this. There's, let me just come up here. Looks really pretty. We've got half of our red quinoa there and our brown rice mixed together. And as Tracy mentioned, the extra color does add extra nutrients that we wouldn't otherwise get. So
It makes a much more beautiful, eye-appealing bowl too, to have lots of color in your bowl. The beauty of making these bowls in advance, you can go ahead and make extra grains and rice for it. And that way you have the base of putting a bowl together, and you're just, you could easily open up your refrigerator or your cabinet and see what you have to put on top of your bowl. You can make your own dressings. You can buy dressing at the grocery store. You can do a balsamic vinaigrette or pretty much any other dressing that you feel appropriate. I would avoid dressings such as ranch and things like that. They're just high in fat and high in salt, just not that good of a choice.
yeah, that's a good point. That, I mean, when you're changing the dressing, you can be using all these same ingredients and you're changing the dressing and it's going to taste totally different.
Yes.
So if we're using an Asian style ginger dressing, all of these things would taste completely different than this is almost, I feel like this is kind of a, maybe not Tex-Mex, but we've got the cilantro, we've got some beans here. I'll let you share what else we're going to put in here, but we've got some other great choices. So let's get some
Bowls going in. So, we do need to get the avocado.
Oh, yes. Let me take that back.
Yeah, and then we can start assembling the bowls.
So this is actually my avocado saver that I brought, and I do feel like this really helps. So there are all sorts of ways that are out there on the internet to tell you how to prevent your avocado from browning. The thing is, oxygen makes it brown. So to some extent, we're not going to be able to prevent that from happening. And it's okay, especially if you opened it yesterday and it was perfectly green. One of the things I do to start with is when I'm looking for avocados, I call these the stem, the belly button. So I always look for ones that still have the belly button intact, the stem. And I squeeze it. You want it to squeeze like a peach, so just a little bit of give. If it's too squishy, it's probably too overripe. But then I actually flick off the stem, and I want to see that beautiful green color that you're thinking about. If it's blackish, then it's too ripe. If you can't get it out, it's not ripe enough. So sometimes even the skin, we do want to look for a blackish skin, but sometimes that is even deceptive. So that's how I found these. So that's a great tip.
Okay.
You want me to cut it?
For you, and if you don't
Okay.
mind.
Nope, not at all. I'll switch spots.
Okay. We're gonna get our bowls together and get started. So we're gonna, with the base, we're gonna use the rice and quinoa. We're gonna put approximately 1 cup of in each bowl.
Perfect.
I just got a handy little scoop measuring cup just to make it quick and easy.
This meal is creative, but for me, I like to meal prep for the week for work.
Nice.
I could meal prep on Friday, put them out in different Tupperwares, and then just kind of grab and go during the week.
Yeah.
You can always mix it up. Put you out some veggies and it's a whole different bowl.
Would you heat this up, do you think, or would you eat it cold?
I would eat this one cold.
Okay.
And there's so many variants, if you did, if you were doing, diced chicken and dice some eggs and then do some, greens and other vegetables, you can just make, any bowl to your imagination.
Yeah, that's true.
So then we're going to also put in, for this one, I'm going to keep my ingredients on top, kind of separated. I'm going to put some little corn on the side of each bowl.
And we bought the no salt corn.
Yes.
So in our clinic, at the heart failure clinic, we educate our patients on eating low sodium. Well, a lot of the food manufacturers you'll see, they may put low salt or low sodium on the outside. And what that really means, it's just reduced sodium from their original recipe. So we really teach our patients to look at the back, at the label, look at the serving size, because it's not always one can is 500 milligrams of sodium. For this no salt, it is just 10 milligrams. So at 3.5 servings, so only 40 milligrams for this whole can, which is great. I would estimate, what would you estimate? If just a regular can of corn probably has 400, 500.
That's probably pretty
Yes.
close. Yeah.
And so with our congestive heart failure patients, we recommend less than 2,000 milligrams a day. And so I know a lot of people in the South cook, let's say green beans, canned green beans. Well, some of those cans of green beans, if you don't get the no salt, it's 1,000 milligrams of sodium just in green beans. And our patients think, but I'm eating vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah.
And with congestive heart failure, if you have too much sodium in your diet, you retain fluid in your legs, or you can get it in your abdomen, or it can go in your lungs and give you severe short of breath. So we really try to teach our patients about what does low sodium really mean. Labels can be deceptive. Read the back, look at serving sizes and amounts.
So I also put some black beans in here, and we did find a can of black beans with no salt. I have rinsed those, and I added those to the bowl. Also, now I'm gonna put some tomato. I did some cherry tomatoes and just cut them in half to add to the bowl.
Look how pretty. We've got bright pops of yellow and black and red now. We've already cut up our avocado. We've got limes. We've got some green going on. We know we're going to get some green for our dressing. So we hit almost all the colors except orange, I guess. Maybe blue, purple. So we could add some purple cabbage there to make it.
Exactly. With fruits and vegetables, the wider variety of colors, the more nutrients you're getting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Each color theme seems to have different vitamins and minerals.
Yeah. Yeah. What's making those fruits, vegetables, grains, beans a different color are literally different nutrients. So that way, you know, it's not always about, am I getting enough of these certain vitamins and minerals? We don't necessarily have to nitpick all the time, especially if you're someone with heart failure and you already feel like you're having to watch your sodium so closely, or having to watch my calories, am I getting enough protein, you know, some of these other elements that might be difficult that you're already tracking. Maybe you have diabetes on top of it too. And so that can all be a lot to manage. So if you're going with a variety of color, that's one less thing you have to think about. So choosing the whole grain, getting the variety, and you're good. So
we teach our patients in our clinic, just heart healthy doesn't mean just if you eat chicken and vegetables. You know, incorporate different types of vegetables. And once you start taking away the salt in your diet, when you eat something with just a regular amount of salt, it's very salty.
yeah.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, definitely.
So
And it takes
no salt.
definitely time to adjust to that.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel like even if you put the salt just on top, that's what hits your tongue first.
Yeah.
So it might taste saltier. I've noticed that with certain types of snacks, like they have the snap pea crisps, I guess maybe is the best way to describe it. And when I eat those, I go, oh my gosh, these taste so salty. Then you look at the back and it's not, I think it's, I don't know, less than 100. It might be 70 milligrams of sodium for 25 or 30 of them or something like that. And that's what kind of made me realize, oh, it's because it's just on the top.
Yep.
And when it's just on the top, that's what hits my tongue. That's the salt I taste. So it's not, yes, we want to look at what is in the food first, because sometimes you can't always taste it. You know, this can of green beans or that can of black beans, if you just heated it up on the stovetop, it really might not taste as salty as what you're getting. But if we're not here to tell you not to use salt. We just have to use it in the smartest way possible.
Yes.
So,
Okay, so now I've added the avocado to the bowl. And to finish it off, we're gonna sprinkle on some feta cheese. You could do regular feta cheese, or there's also a plant-based feta chease.
I did. I got that today. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. So, you know, if you want to try it on live TV, you're more than welcome to. And I got it because for an interesting just discussion, you know, as we're talking more about the labels, but there is a decent amount of fat more in the plant-based feta cheese than the dairy-based feta cheese. However, the sodium is half of that in this plant-based feta versus the 320 milligrams, I think, in the regular dairy feta. So again, you can make all things fit, but if that is what you're struggling with most is the sodium part,
Yes.
then maybe we want this option. If that's not so much what you're struggling with, then and you're needing to watch your saturated fat, for example, maybe the other one is the better option, and it's just a sprinkle. So
That's, that reminds me of, the three things that make food taste good. It's gonna be fat, sugar, and salt. So usually if they reduce one, they're increasing the other one. So if you go in low fat, it may be having more, sugar or salt in it.
yep. So I did just want to show everyone. Here's the plant-based feta. So it almost what I'm going to do is I'm just going to crumble it in my hand, but it does come in a block. So here, I'll just take it and put on one like this, and you're never even really going to notice. You can smell it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we often don't get messy enough in the kitchen with our food, but we all washed our hands. So that is part of becoming reconnected with our food and enjoying, the process of cooking. So give it a smell, give it a taste. We're up here. I know you can't smell how good it smells in the kitchen right now, but taste your dressing as you're going. Sample one of its tomatoes. As I'm cooking with my daughter more, who isn't even 2 yet, one of the things I'm trying to do is normally she has a hard time waiting for dinner to be ready. So I might cut up a couple of cherry tomatoes first and just let her stand there and kind of snack on those while I'm trying to get the rest of something like this. That would be a great option for me. That would be quick and easy for her. But what can I kind of let her play with alongside me to expose our children to a lot of these things and where they come from as well.
Okay, so we're gonna we're gonna top this off and we'll be all set. So with this, it'd be nice to either use sour cream or some plain Greek yogurt to be a bit of a garnish and help flavor your bowl. We're gonna go with a Greek yogurt today, just a little dollop there in the middle. And then we'll finish putting our feta cheese on all of our bowls. You can also add some more, dice up some extra cilantro if you wanted to. And then the final step would be to drizzle on our dressing. And then we're ready. So if you were making this to take with you, you may want to, for lunch at work or whatnot, you may want to take the dressing separate with you and add your dressing when you're ready to eat.
Right, ready?
We're ready.
I think I'm gonna try the plant-based.
Sure.
Kind, the regular or the plant-based?
I'll try the plant-based. I've never tried it. So we'll go for that. We just finished crumbling this up.
I'm excited for this.
Me too.
I'm glad they came so that they can feed me. Out of your way. How about we switch sides here?
Okay.
Tracy and I both love to cook.
Yes. So with this, we could also add a little bit more, black pepper on top to finish giving it some flavor. And with this bowl, you're very much in control of how much sodium is in everything. So,
Yeah.
and that's definitely a plus when it comes to working with people who have heart failure. And plus, reducing your sodium also is beneficial to lower blood pressure. So it's all good.
Right. Yes. I'm gonna step up and just see if anyone had any questions here. And while you
smell that cilantro.
yes, you can. It's
Smells
beautiful.
delicious.
I was gonna say I should have taken a bowl with me. I'll show everyone our final product here. So
Look at those beautiful colors.
there we go. And we are going to set this back here. I guess, does anyone have any questions for these lovely ladies while you up? I see a couple, so I'm trying to stand. Those. I apologize, everyone. Our question and answer is taking a little bit to come up here. So Now, I'm going to ask one in the meantime. How can someone come see you if they have heart failure?
For our clinic, we see by referral.
Okay.
That could come from, sometimes we're in the hospital itself will refer to our clinic. Your primary care can refer. We even have cardiologists in the community that refer to us due to our ability to get patients in quickly and frequently, because with heart failure, it is very important to titrate the medications and get you on all the right medications as soon as possible. With heart failure, once you've been in the hospital, you're at such a high risk to be readmitted if not on the right medications and making the correct dietary changes.
Yeah, I think that's so important. So really, one of the only questions that has come in is whether or not we can share the recipe. So we can absolutely do that.
Definitely.
We will send this out once we get the link uploaded to YouTube. So you can find us on YouTube. You can also find us in all of these past, the veg edges that we've done previously. You can find those located on the Spartanburg Regional YouTube as well. And so once I get that link, then I will send out the recipe along with the video link if you'd like to watch it again with us. So I will certainly send that out. Any more questions for Tracy? I'm going to come look again. Ladies, is there anything else you want to share?
I just really appreciate the opportunity to come cook with you.
Yes, yes,
And exchange recipes.
yes.
Yes. And
Exactly. Thank
I
you
learned
so
some
much.
great tips about the cilantro, the avocado with the belly button issue.
Yes.
Really, really great tips, especially the cilantro, because I'm a huge cilantro lover, and I just feel like it wilts so fast during the week.
It's so fast.
And
I can't grow it. I can't keep it alive. I've tried. I could eat that whole bunch of cilantro
Yes.
just raw right off. I know people have a love-hate relationship with it. So maybe we should talk about that. What do you think? Do you think parsley would do well in?
Maybe if you changed up the ingredients in your bowl, I'm sure that would be
Okay.
an excellent addition to a bowl. Maybe you'd want to do something that was maybe more.
Like Mediterranean,
Yeah,
even? Maybe some chickpeas instead of our black beans.
Yeah, artichoke hearts.
There we go.
Yeah.
Some cucumbers.
More tomatoes.
Yeah, exactly. Keep our tomatoes.
We can
That
try
sounds
some
good.
dill. on
Yeah.
top.
Oh, yeah. I like that.
fresh dill.
Yeah. Ooh, fresh dill. They're gonna have to come back again.
It's endless what you can do with a bowl. Just kind of like whatever it is. It's almost like your it's where you put your leftovers.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
Have a whole grain, cut some vegetables up,
Yeah.
some protein.
Got some leftover chicken.
Yeah. I mean, the grains themselves are gonna stay good in your refrigerator for a week, 5 days at least.
Yes.
So go ahead and make a lot at one time. Yes, we did add a little bit of flavor here, but it was a neutral flavor. You can use whole grains for breakfast options too. So don't limit yourself to oatmeal. You can absolutely do bulgur. You can do quinoa in a breakfast manner as well. Farro, any of those. Similar to, you can also eat oatmeal savory. So people don't think about that, but instead of using rice, you can use oatmeal at dinner. They're all greens. There are a lot of people in the world that eat them in very savory ways that we don't always tend to do in the United States. But we can get creative, and don't think you're strange for doing anything like that. It's just about getting the nutrients into your body to keep you as strong and as healthy as possible. So if anyone does have any interest in getting your blood pressure checked and talking with some more healthcare professionals, come to our cardiac rehab building heart wellness program tomorrow between 11 and 2 p.m. Then there's a team of exercise physiologists, dietitians, and nurses down there that have an open house blood pressure screening. Ask them your questions there. You're welcome to do that too. So with that, we are going to sign off, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you ladies so much for being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.